Over the previous weeks, there probably wasn't anyone saying a complete sentence with the word North that didn't have the word Korea in it. But let's take our mind off the hustle and bustle of the news, okay? It's the weekend, kick back, relax. Just like every country on the planet, there are people who need to eat, and this of course includes those inhabiting North Korea. To discover what they have to offer, we came across this restaurant called the Pyongyang KoRyo, a posh restaurant serving up cuisine from the country. Now I would show you more, but then I would have to kill you. I'm kidding, but the workers there aren't, so photography isn't allowed in the building with the exception of the food and the menu. But that's a good thing, you know, you're gonna see less of me and more of this. Now, North Korean food is similar to South Korean food with kimchi and the works. Being Asian, they don't stray far from the staple of the continent, being rice. Noodles are also all over this menu. Being in relatively uncharted territory, we asked for the chef's recommendations. So we ordered the Pyongyang cold noodles, Korean pork intestine sausage soup, and glass noodles with seafood. Yeah, the prices you see there are the real deal, and that's before service tax and GST. But the restaurant's a really nice place, great ambiance and friendly, helpful waitresses and staff. The waitresses are North Korean ladies, by the way, and they're all dressed in the Chosun-ot, which is a traditional North Korean outfit. They all speak English, so there's not much of a language barrier. Now, when we asked them if they were aware of any big news that happened recently, they said they don't know anything. So we went on with our meal. The appetizers are simple but generous. Small platters of boiled egg, kimchi, lotus root, bean sprouts, and some small pancakes. This is where, you brace for the explosive spiciness of kimchi, but to my surprise, it was sweet instead. And it went well with the tea. The receipt and the menu just said tea, so we have no idea what it was, but it tasted good. Onto the entrees, the glass noodles came first and they were much thicker than the ones you find in the usual coffee shop. In fact, they were substantial and they're quite filling. The dish looked kinda small, but it could have been a meal on its own. In fact, the menu wrote dehydrated starch noodles. These noodles were transparent and soft, but they also absorbed the flavor of the broth. Guess it can't hurt to be descriptive. Next came the Korean pork intestine sausage soup, and in case you haven't noticed, this place isn't halal. Fair warning. Again, this isn't what you think it is. It's not the pork innards that you find in the yong tau fu or the dark-colored lapcheong that some people put in their fried rice. It is sliced up and it blends well into the hot soup. Much like mincemeat, but it's much smoother. It was another pleasant surprise. It's also served with rice, but really it's good enough to eat on its own, so we had some rice. I mean, it's rice. And it tasted like rice anyway. Our last dish was the Pyongyang cold noodles. This was apparently their signature, with it appearing on their Facebook page and all. The waitresses even come and mix it together with a dash of mustard and vinegar right before your eyes. So while it's served cold, it's not the same as Japanese soba noodles. Again, it was transparent and soft and had a completely different consistency. They were a little tricky to handle with the cutlery, being slippery and all, but after a moment we got the hang of it. The meat was sliced paper thin and added to the texture of the dish more than its flavor, but it still tasted good nonetheless, and it was in itself a pretty filling dish too. Now about the place, getting to the Pyongyang KoRyo is a bit tricky, and it's on Jalan Jati, a small road that runs parallel to Jalan Imbi. You'll know it when you see it, and it's very hard to miss if you're on the correct road. But getting there is a whole different story. It's a good idea to search it up on Google Maps or Waze before embarking on your trip. All in all, it was quite a posh affair really. The bill came up to almost 150 ringgit for 2 people. So if you ask me if I'll go again, maybe not. But it's quite worth the experience, and I suggest trying it at least once. It is the closest you'll get to North Korea without actually being there. That doesn't include going to Seoul, of course. Have you been to the Pyongyang KoRyo? Perhaps in another one outside of Malaysia? Share your experience in the comments. Tell me if I'm right, tell me if I'm wrong. There are no wrong answers. I'm Daniel Anthony for KiniTV. Take care.